And we are live. All right.
What's up?
We are.
Woe to you of Earth and Sea. This is Jack Mangan. Actually, I'm not wearing a metal shirt today. It's a good nerdy shirt. Oh, Quiet Riot. Very, very good. Queen. I don't know. I'm representing Alien. I'm okay with it. So,
yeah, that's cool.
Perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, if anything bursts out of my chest, you guys just keep going.
Yeah.
All right, so really quickly, I am a lot of news actually today before we really get rolling. I am Jack Mangan, the Am I Evil graphic novel, also MetalAsylum.net and Metal Hall of Fame. Am I Evil we've got about 10 days left to go on the Indiegogo. We're 75% of the way there, so help us out, help us get there. We're going to make something regardless, even if we don't hit our goal, but help us hit our goal so we can do a full-length book. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, and as I said, this is our first. We normally do MetalAsylum.net. We're based out of the Metal Hall of Fame today, so it's an honor. Thank you, Pat Swaldo. It's great to see you.
Patrick Waldo.
Yeah, and to my left, that's my left.
Yes, and my left as well. And my left as well. I'm Rich Catino from the Metal Asylum as well, and Brave Words Magazine, and contributor at the Metal Hall of Fame, and also working on the Am I Evil graphic novel as well, and contributing to Sea of Tranquility when they do their album rankings and top 10s and a few other things. So that's also very exciting and fun to do.
I'm Thom Hazaert. I contribute to absolutely nothing.
That's not true at all.
So that's our guest today. We have Mr. Thom Hazaert of. Can you mention a couple of things that well, of course, Ellefson's solo band, but what else are you currently working with?
Obviously, me and David run Combat and EMP and Ellefson Coffee Co. And obviously, I'm David's manager, and we have the Ellefson band and, Ellefson Films and Ellefson Books and yada, 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 yada.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all the time we have. Tom,
that's it. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah, no, I mean it's incredible. I mean, what we should talk about, because in 2 days the album drops. So let's actually no.
The single off Wiedersehen drops on Friday. The video actually premiered today on thanks to our friends at Nights with Alice Cooper, and we're gonna actually post it fully on Facebook later on this evening. Me and David are doing a live stream tonight with Mike Portnoy and Alex Skolnick and Steve Brown and a couple other people to kind of do a little tribute to Eddie Van Halen and his legacy, which is obviously very important to all of us. And so we're going to kind of drop the Wiedersehen video sort of in conjunction with that. But yeah, no, the album, so it was originally supposed to come out last Friday. And then, as you guys might know, in the middle of making it, my heart stopped and I died. So that put a little kink in our release plan. So, and, honestly, though, we end up doing a deal with Ear Music, who's putting it out in Europe and other parts of the world. And so, again, if we would have put it out when we were going to, that wouldn't have happened. So, again, we're pushing it back anyway because of my health thing. And then we did the deal with Ear Music, and we want to obviously give them ample time to promote it and set it up, and it's coming out through Ward Records in Japan, another great label that actually put out our Sleeping Giants record last year. So it was kind of a confluence of circumstances, me dying and coming back to life as an undead zombie, and then signing to Ear Music and Ward and kind of wanting to leave proper. So now it comes out November 20th around the world, and the single off Wiedersehen comes out on all digital outlets on Friday.
Okay.
Very nice. Yeah, and actually that's fantastic. I love the variety of covers. I've heard of Wiedersehen. I'm a longtime Jorgensen fan, so it's great to see.
Well, you guys should have told me. I would have sent you a Holix download of the whole record before we did this, so you could have heard it. I didn't know I didn't click, or I'll send you one when we're done, and you can hear it.
Yeah, that'd be a thrill. So yeah, you want to talk to us about? Sorry, Rich, I totally stepped on you. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Well, we were already talking about the album, so you go ahead with your question, and I'll go backwards a little bit.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, this album is so exciting. This is an incredible list of songs and guests that you and David Ellefson pulled in. So wherever you want to start, I mean, let's do the track listing first, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fun. I actually today just got the vinyl test pressings in, and I got to hear the record on vinyl in sequence in a physical form for the first time today. And man, I'm so excited. Let me see. I think I have the track listing somewhere. Let me see. I might even still. Let's see. We did Free Will Burnin', Tear It Loose with Eddie Ojeda. Free Will Burnin' with me and Jason McMaster kind of share the lead vocals. Gus G, Andy James, Dave McLean plays drums. Love Me Like a Reptile, Motorhead, obviously, with Doro and Chuck Bueller play drums, which is awesome. We did Dead Kennedys Holiday in Cambodia with Charlie Benante. We did Billy Idol Rebel Yell. We did Wasted, but Def Leppard, which is obviously the first song that we released with Frank Cannon and Dave McLean and Jacob Bunton from McMars. Riff Raff, Nailed to the Gun with Russ Parrish, which is really cool, obviously, who was in Fight, now better known as Satchel from Steel Panther. Man, I'm going to get through this track list, and we really will be out of time. But, we did Not Fragile, Bachman Turner Overdrive, obviously Auf Wiedersehen with Al Jorgensen and Charlie Benante. Brandon from Crowbot did some background vocals on that as well. We did Love Machine by Wasp. We did Nazareth, Love Hurts, which, Dirk from Megadeth played drums on Love Machine and just absolutely killed it. And, it's fun, man. There's fun little Easter eggs. Like Dave Alvin from White Trash actually did some background vocals on Love Machine. So there's all these fun little Easter eggs kind of buried in this record. Love Hurts, Brandon from Crowbot again did guest vocals on. We did Crocus Eat the Rich, which it is actually Mark Storaci's birthday. And funny enough, me and David had a fun little email exchange back and forth with him today, telling him happy birthday. And he was saying how much he loved our version of Eat the Rich, which is super cool. Queen, we did Sheer Heart Attack with me, Bumblefoot, and Doro kind of sang it, and that turned out great. A couple, we did Say What You Will with Mark Slaughter and Troy Lucetta play drums, which is awesome. Me and Mark kind of trade off on the vocals. And there's actually a couple songs that I was supposed to sing on or kind of guest sing with, kind of duet with people on, and then I didn't even get a chance to finish them because I have my situation. So I said, screw it. So we did Over the Mountain, which Andrew Freeman from Last in Line sings on, and Sweet F.A., which Todd Kearns from Slash ended up singing on. So super, super, super cool, man. Super great record. Super excited about it.
That's a lot of great guests.
Yeah. Too many.
All right, go ahead, Rich.
Let's stay on the album. So what else were you going to ask him about that? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a great rundown. I don't know. I mean, just like I said, I love the fact, this isn't a question. I'll just kind of run with this, Tom. I just love the fact that, it's not just a straight up metal compilation. It's some really great cuts from all kinds of genres. So I assume that's just 'cause musicians, right? I mean,
look, me and David both. I mean, it's funny because we're like 10 years apart, but we both kind of grew up on the same bands, just different eras. Like David kind of grew up more on the On Through the Night era of Def Leppard, and I grew up on the Pyromania era. You know what I mean? Like certain things like Wasp were kind of things that were contemporaries of Megadeth, and they were coming out, and that was sort of me bringing that to the table. And some of the stuff like BTO and Nazareth was kind of, a lot of this stuff too is stuff that David played in cover bands in Minnesota before he moved to LA and met Dave Mustaine and they started Megadeth. And a lot of this stuff is material that David actually played. So David and Greg Handevid, who was the original guitar player in Megadeth, they moved out from Minnesota to LA together, and they played in cover bands together. And a lot of these were songs. Love Me Like a Reptile was one of those tunes, and we actually got Greg to play on that too. So not only is Doro on it, and Chuck Bueller plays drums, but Greg Handevid plays on it, and Jimmy DeGrasso's on the record. Dirk, I mean, it's so funny. We have so many Dave Lombardo actually plays drums on Riff Raff. The hidden track is actually Chips Enough singing yet another Cheap Trick song with and funny enough, I'm not even on that one. It was just like a bonus track that kind of they were working on for something. I'll do this is awesome. Let's put it on no cover. So it's kind of the hidden bonus track. So if you keep playing it after the record ends, you'll hear our friend Chips Enough singing another fabulous Cheap Trick favorite.
Cool.
All right. No spoilers though, or beyond that.
So was this album? How long was this album in the works, and did you work on it when the COVID hit, or was it done before that?
No, God, man, this thing. So originally we had announced that we were going to put out our actual Ellefson studio record on Halloween. That was kind of our plan. Megadeth was going to be on tour, like Halloween. Funny enough, Megadeth was actually, I live in Green Bay, and Megadeth was originally supposed to be here on Halloween night. So we're like, cool. So we were going to put the record out on Halloween. And then COVID hit, and we're like, yeah, let's not put our record out. And then we've been talking since last year about doing a couple covers for, we'd already done a deal with Ward for the solo record for Japan, and we were going to do Rebel Yell and a couple of these covers that ended up on no cover for B-sides for the Japanese release. And then, I called David one day, and we were just like, God, I don't want to put our record out during this. And I'm like, let's just do a cover. Why don't we just do a cover record? And so we started off like, okay, we'll do this, started with a handful of songs and turned into a bigger handful. Mm-hmm. And then literally I'd be in the studio. We first even discussed the idea of the cover record in like the beginning of June. And it was done in the can, mastered by the end of August. 19 songs, So no, the idea didn't even exist until like the middle, kind of COVID. And then we all just kind of did it remotely. David recorded his stuff in Phoenix with our friend John Icolino. Our guitar player, Andy Martingelli, is in Italy. He kind of mapped out all the songs. And I went to Madison with my friend Matt LaPlante, who did like Non-Point and Skindred and Flaw. And I went, and that's kind of where I record all my vocals. So I went and recorded all my stuff with him, and all the guests just sort of recorded their stuff remotely, sent it all to our kind of mixer, Alessio Caravello in London. And he kind of took it all, threw it together. Me and Alessio kind of mixed it, and that was it. It was really, considering what a massive undertaking it was. It literally killed me, but we got it done in a ridiculously short period of time. And it's really, to sit back and look at it now that it's done, it's kind of mind blowing. There's literally 30 guests on this record, 19 songs, and to have to record it all remotely during a pandemic. It's insane if you think about it.
Yeah.
I'd assume, again, I don't want to go too far off on a tangent here, but I assume that's kind of the future. I assume now that COVID has shown how many musicians are doing this. It was happening pre-COVID, but I think like Faith No More's last record, everyone was remote. I think there's going to be a lot more.
I think there's been a lot of, like our Sleeping Giants record. most of that stuff we were doing this long before the pandemic, man. Look, on Sleeping Giants, the title track was me and DMC. And, DMC recorded his stuff remotely in New York. I recorded mine in Phoenix. It kind of, Mark Tremonti did a guest solo on a song. Chris Poland did. And most of that stuff was all recorded remotely, man. You know what I mean? So it's we were kind of doing that before. And that's sort of been the way it's been going anyway. But yeah, I know the Korn guys work like that a lot. And, a lot of guys just kind of, bands are more and more spread out. Like everything used to be central. Everybody used to live in LA. And now everybody's spread out, man. Like every band is spread out across the country and around the world. Even Megadeth, man. Kiko's been in Europe for the last year with his family. Dirk's in LA. Ellefson's in Phoenix. The Mustaine's are in Nashville. Yeah. Most bands are spread out. Look at our band. David's in Phoenix. I'm in Wisconsin. Our drummer and guitar player are in Italy, and two disparate parts of Italy too. Not even close in Italy. And Bumblefoot obviously lives in New Jersey. So look, we've been kind of, this is how we made the studio record too, man. It's just kind of seems like it's the way it is now.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, what do you got?
Okay, so for someone who doesn't know your name, can you give somebody a little bit of backstory, how you came into playing music and knowing all these, working with all these musicians and everything?
Well, I just told them all what my name is, so they all do now.
Awesome.
Look, my background is, it's funny. I kind of came more out of the, when I was younger, I played and wanted to be a musician. And then I woke up one day and saw the managers and the label guys and everybody else were the ones who, actually made money and whatever. So I kind of went more to that side. And look, I worked with everybody from, Limp Bizkit to Stain, Cold, Nine Inch Nails. I, co-founded a big marketing company called Total Assault. You remember back in the 2000s when you couldn't go to a show without 30 people handing you cassettes and stickers and all kinds of bullshit?
Yeah.
that was basically me. I started that whole thing for the most part, and which at the time was kind of taking, the lifestyle street marketing that they were doing in the urban and hip hop world, and kind of pairing that up with the birth of the internet and the things that were going on there, and sort of merged the two. And there was a couple other people that kind of were dabbling in it, but I was really one of the first people to really embrace all of those. And I worked for Flip Records and again helped them kind of break Limp Bizkit and Stained and Cold and Dope and a lot of their roster. And then me and my partner at the time started Total Assault Marketing, and we ended up helping to break Crazy Town. And we worked with Nine Inch Nails and Methods of Mayhem and Henry Rollins, and I mean probably and again, Incubus, and I worked with probably 5,000 bands. And then sort of after that, I kind of became a manager, and I worked with Chimera and got them signed to Roadrunner, and I worked with Switched and got them signed to Immortal, and I worked with a band called Depswa and got them signed to Geffen, and
Wow.
So, and then through that, I started a label called Corporate Punishment Records and put out 80 records there, and
Wow.
and then another label called THC Music, and I put out a record with Wes Borland for Black Light Burns. I put out I kind of helped American Head Charge get back together and put out their first EP after they got back together, and kind of co-produced that. And, again, and through all that, I was sort of a songwriter and a producer, and the playing was really just kind of an accident, man. Like, I was always a singer, and I'd always produce records, and I'd always kind of write a lot of the vocal stuff on a lot of the records I produce. And it would kind of be like me singing stuff, telling the guy, okay, here, you sing this. And then eventually I'm like, well, I'm a better singer than most of these guys that are singing the shit I write. So it just kind of, through total, honestly, it was total accident. Me and David were out. I'm David's manager. We were out on tour doing the bass story thing, which was more David kind of playing along to tracks and talking. And it started as more a spoken word thing. And then we brought out a full band, and then it turned into, hey, I want somebody to come out and, come out and sing P-Cells or something tonight. So I did. And then literally 5 minutes later, I was like, oh my God, tomorrow we're going to do this and this and this and this and this. And then it turned into us kind of doing a few Megadeth songs on the Bass Story tour. And then it turned into us writing Vultures and the stuff for Sleeping Giants, which again, me and David wrote a book last year called More Life with Death. And that was the other kind of part of my history and voyage, I guess, that I left out. I started as a writer. I wrote for Metal Hammer and Circus and a bunch of kind of, remember rock magazines? They were made out of paper, and they had words in them. They looked like this kind of. Well, I wrote for a bunch of those and kind of, and I started out as a writer. So that was kind of the other part of my background, which all leads back into me and David writing More Life with Death. And then we went in the studio, and I was like, when we had the book coming, I'm like, dude, let's go in the studio and we toured a little bit, doing kind of the Megadeth thing on the Bass Story. And, I said, look, let's go write a song together. So we went in the studio with Dave Sharp and Opus from Dead by Wednesday. And we wrote Vultures, and we recorded it like the next day, and it ended up on Sleeping Giants. And then he'd kind of had Hammer Comes Down and Sleeping Giants and kind of the origins of those songs recorded. So I kind of took those, re-recorded them, wrote new vocals, wrote new melodies, and kind of produced them and restructured them. And that's kind of the stuff that ended up as the new tracks on Sleeping Giants. And then we toured a bunch doing that and playing those songs, with a mix of some Megadeth stuff, which we also kind of did on the Mega Cruise last year. And and then we wrote Simple Truth, and then we just became a writing machine. And me and David, Andy, and Bumblefoot just started writing stuff and kind of knocking stuff out. And it just turned into this behemoth powerhouse band out of absolutely nowhere,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like a super group. If you don't know, Bumblefoot is also known as Ron Paul. Ron, in the world. We've got a guest in studio with
Yeah, that's Pebbles. She's always
there. So I got another non-question, really, but since we're on the Metal Hall, I got to say, in fact, some people have heard me tell this story already a couple of times. So sorry if you've heard this already. Probably the highlight of the whole evening this year at the 2020 Metal Hall of Fame Gala was Chris Poland, Thom Hazaert, and a couple other guys on stage doing The Conjuring into P-Cells. So Thom, if you want to talk about that experience, Chris Poland.
I talk about that experience every chance I get. I was literally on the phone with Mark Tremonti talking about it today. So Chris, so the Metal Hall of Fame. So me and David first went 4 years ago, I think, when they inducted Nick Menza. They asked David if he'd come and induct Nick. And obviously we did, and had a great hang with his family. And it was really kind of an olive branch, because I think that relationship had been a little strained. And so David, obviously being the ambassador in Megadeth, we were like, absolutely, fuck yeah, you know. So we did that. And then the next year they actually inducted David and Frank Bello. And then so I was talking to Pat last year, and I'm like, man, you guys should induct Chris Poland. And then we talked about it, and I kind of, so they decided to induct Chris Poland. And then so it came down to me inducting him, and Phil Demo, formerly of Machine Head and Violence and a bunch of other stuff. So me and Phil inducted him. And then, it was actually, funny enough, it was our U.S. backing band, the same guys we did Vultures with. It was Opus and Dave Sharp from Dead by Wednesday. And then Ricky Bonazza, the bassist from the Butcher Babies. David originally was supposed to do it, but he ended up having to be on tour with Europe. No, he was on tour. He was not on tour with Europe. He was on tour with Megadeth in Europe. That's a big distinction. Could you imagine David up playing the Final Countdown? Anyway, so we, me and Phil inducted Chris, and then we all got up and jammed. The shitty thing was, and I was super pissed about this, and I still am, we were actually supposed to play The Conjuring and Peace Cells. And right before we played, Pat comes up like maybe an hour before. He goes, oh man, we're way behind. You're only going to be able to play one song. So we just did the thing you saw, which was the intro of The Conjuring into Peace Cells. And then after we were done, he was like, oh my God, I wish you guys would have played more, because we're like 10 minutes ahead of schedule. I'm like, are you kidding? So, I mean, I was super bummed. We really wanted to do the whole Conjuring, but whatever. It was great, and it was fun the way we did it. And yeah, it was really a great experience, man. And Chris was so humbled and excited. And Chris Poland is one of the most genuinely kind and humble and amazing people I know on this planet. So being able to do that for him and be a part of that was really just so incredible. And to be there to share that night with him was, and me and Chris, it's funny enough, me and Chris are actually writing some songs together now and working on a record together and working on some stuff. I'm writing a book with him, that's going to come out next year through our Ellefson Books imprint. So me and Chris have kind of become really intertwined in a lot of ways, but it was amazing. And Chris was amazing. And I'll never forget when we were done, I was walking around backstage, and Steve Vai sees me and goes, oh my God, dude, that was so fucking amazing. That was so entertaining. You were so much fun to watch. And I'm just like a deer in headlights, like, thank you, Steve Vai. Like, what do you say to that? You know what I mean? Like, it was incredible. Right. Steve Vai is such an idol and such an icon to me. And the cool thing was, actually, a few months before the show, Pat had hit me up and said, hey, would Chris want to get up and jam with Satriani and Vai, who were inducting that? And I'm like, of course. So after we were done, so it was basically us and then Steve Vai and Satch. And then after their induction, Poland and Steve Vai and Joe Satriani and Jeff Tate all got up and jammed together, which was awesome, man. If you haven't seen it, the whole thing's on Amazon. So I've showed like 50 people.
Yeah. It was unforgettable. And I got the opportunity actually to meet you and Chris Poland. It's okay if you don't remember me. You met 45 people or 4,500 people that night. I also had more hair on top and less here. But yeah, Chris is a great guy. But yeah, Rich, I don't want to step on you if you had more questions. Everyone should go and watch that. Absolutely. But go ahead, Rich.
Okay.
I don't want to.
So since we're talking about the hall, if you were submitting your choices, who would you like to see? Three bands you'd like to see maybe inducted for next year?
Well, me and Pat already talked about one of them that's going to be inducted next year. So,
okay.
I guess I can't talk about it, but it will be in keeping with the theme of the last 3 years of our involvement. So we'll just say that. I mean, again, there's one obvious person that I want to induct that Pat we've discussed, and I think me and David are going to come induct this year, and somebody who is no longer with us, and we're super excited that I think we're going to be able to. And I don't know about this year. I don't know what's going to go on this year. Obviously, there's no NAMM. So again, I mean, me and Pat actually had a conversation a couple weeks ago, and I think they are going to just do a broadcast and kind of do it as like a kind of private thing. So I think but yeah, I mean, like I already kind of made my choice known. Other than that, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe they'll I don't know. Maybe they'll induct me finally. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
But for what? As an author, as a performer, as an executive? I mean, you gotta
all
make a choice.
of the above, man. Why? Why do I have to make a choice? I mean,
Right.
I mean, I honestly, I can't hold the jockstrap at Johnny Z and some of the other amazing guys who I've seen them induct, who I'm humbled enough to have become friends with. And again, I've just met so many great people and so many of my idols. I mean, if you look around my room, man, I mean, I'm just a big nerdy metal fanboy. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I do. I mean, Gene Simmons is looking over my shoulder. I mean, again, I'm so immersed in this shit all day, every day. And I think that shows on No Cover and on even when I sing the Megadeth stuff. I mean, to me, like, that's all so personal and so important. And I think we really, I think these covers on No Cover, to go back to that again, man. I mean, they're all so cool. And it was important to us. Like, originally when Dead by Wednesday submitted the Eat the Rich version, it was all down tuned and shit. And we're like, no, dude, tune your shit up to E flat and go do this again. To us, it was really important. We didn't want it to be detuned modern versions of shit. We wanted to pay homage to these songs, kind of as, and look, they all have some of our flavor in it. And it's funny. Me and David were just talking about this today. When you listen to it as a record, it sounds like us. It's funny. We've kind of developed this identity and sound, even with all the guests and even being songs from 19 different artists. I mean, there's a continual thread between the entire record, which I'm super proud of, man. We've kind of on our first record, we've already kind of developed an identity. Again, people have heard Simple Truth and our Post Malone cover Over Now, and some of the stuff about Sleeping Giants, and people just kind of know what it is that me and David do. And it's not, you mentioned it before, it's not thrash. I mean, even our real record, if people are expecting some thrash metal record, it's not, man. Look, David plays in Megadeth. That's Conquer Ground, man. He's in, the second biggest thrash metal band of all time, arguably. You know what I mean? And the only arguable part is if they're the second. And David's done that. So, I mean, our stuff, I mean, honestly, even the solo record, man, has I hate to call it a solo, but the band record, the actual studio record, that has more, I'd say more of like just a classic rock and roll feel, but it's modern, but it's like Guns N' Roses meets Alice in Chains meets Skid Row meets, just classic hard rock with huge balls. And I have a pretty big range vocally, so I mean, I do some stuff that, really got, I don't know. I think we just touch on some, it's cool because I think Megadeth has always been really innovative and David's always been really innovative, but it's fun because I think his musical fandom kind of got stuck when you're in a band like Megadeth and you get huge, you kind of stop listening to other shit and you kind of just are so engrossed in your stuff. So, David's not into a lot of modern stuff or new stuff, and we don't want to regurgitate Megadeth or regurgitate shit that's been done. So it's like, we'd rather, so we're just making, again, No Cover is all just kind of great rock and kind of new wave of British heavy metal kind of stuff. And the record is really more almost a 80s. It's a modern sounding 80s hard rock record with some elements of modern metal,
Mm.
We have two of the most ripping guitar players on the planet, Andy and Bumblefoot. And I mean, look, man, I've never, I mean, it's literally my favorite thing I've heard in a long time, and I'm biased, but I mean, it's really, I think it's something special,
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, what I've heard so far, yeah, I mean, Free Will Burning, it's absolutely, it's just killer. Absolutely.
And nice to see a classic Leppard song off the first album too.
Oh yeah, look, when we, and it was so obvious too when I called David and I called him, I said, "Do we have to do a Def Leppard song?" And then we both at the same time we went through like 2 songs. Right now, Wasted. Yeah, that's it. It was so, most of these were such natural choice. I mean, so we did Tear It Loose, and that was actually Eddie's choice. I hit up David. I said, we should do a Twisted Sister song, who are one of my all-time favorite bands. And I'm like, dude, we should do a Twisted Sister song and have Eddie play on it. He's like, yeah, do it. See if Eddie wants to play it. So I called Eddie. And he said, yeah, we should do Tear It Loose. And I called David. I'm like, Tear It Loose. And we did. And it turned out awesome, man. I mean, so, yeah, it was all pretty much these specific songs were picked for a very specific reason. And look, even the cover, I'm sure you've seen the cover. It's very direct homage to On Through the Night. And just
Right.
look, we both feel like that period of Def Leppard is so underrated. And again, that was just kind of me. I was talking to David, and we kind of decided to do Wasted. And I'm like, it'd be fun if we kind of did a parody homage of the On Through the Night cover of kind of a more modernized truck, but then put your Jackson bass in the back of it. And that was just kind of like some off-the-cuff idea, became the cover and the whole thing. And, hopefully Def Leppard's not offended. Again, it's truly just done. What's funny to me is the people that don't get it, that go, they like post pictures that go, oh my God, you stole the Def Leppard cover. It's like, no, we did a cover record, and what a funny idea. So basically, even the cover of our cover album is a cover. You know what I mean? Right. It's actually a really evolved concept of parody and homage that people just, somehow it goes over some people's heads, man. It's like, obviously, we're familiar with On Through the Night. We covered a song off of it, Yeah. That's the one thing in this whole process that has blown my mind is how some people just completely miss the concept of the cover, which I think is brilliant, man. I mean, Don Jameson, when David was on his show, went on and on about the cover and how brilliant it was. But I mean, again, it's a very, it's kind of a advanced concept that, again, I think got kind of lost on some people. But yes, we're familiar with On Through the Night and the cover, and we know our cover looks like it.
Damn, I was gonna ask about that, but all right. I'm kidding.
There you go. Did you know you ripped off the Def Leppard On Through the Night cover? How dare you?
No, we're big time Def Leppard fans. Rich and I talk about first three albums especially.
First three albums are amazing.
Do you have one of these?
No, I don't.
Don't you dare leave Hysteria off that list, man. Hysteria, for all the Hysteria is one of the greatest rock records ever made. It literally ushered in modern record production. I mean, I love the first three records too. I mean, but you can't leave Hysteria off that list. Hysteria, for so many reasons, they hit their peak as songwriters. Yeah, it's a little poppier and a little more mainstream, but look, it's a natural evolution from Pyromania. And that record really did usher in the modern era of record production, period.
Yeah, it's a great record, actually. Yeah. Go ahead, Rich. Sorry.
What's great about that album, too, is the 4 of the singles, the B-sides, are great songs that did make the album, like Tear It Down and Ride Into the Sun and I Want to Be Your Hero. Is that the other one? Yeah, and Ring of Fire. Those 4 songs should have been on the album. Great songs.
I have the whole little Hysteria box set over there with everything. Have you ever seen that thing? It's amazing. It's like 19 discs. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I love it when the super fans talk down to me when I say Pyromania is my favorite Def Leppard album. They're like, "Oh no, that's the Poser album. You can only like one of the first two." Like, fuck you.
Fuck you.
But anyway, so that's what kind of where I want to go next is, we talked about you're a big time collector. I mean, show off some of your fun toys and cool shit that you got. I mean, you already gave us a little spin around, but show us some of the.
Well, let's see. Here's the Sleeping Giants bass. This is one of my prized possessions. This is actually one of David's basses from the Rust in Peace reunion tour that we so we took this and we did that photo shoot for Sleeping Giants. There's the photos that we use for everything. Let's see, it's here somewhere. Let's see this picture right here. Where is it? Come on. Well, I'm hiding, but anyway, so we took those pictures and then we did the album cover the same day, and then David gave me this bass afterwards. So we did it to emulate the So Far So Good So What bass. I found the Dead Kennedy sticker, and then we put the Combat sticker on it. And Jackson, actually, we got the PMRC made. But so Jackson actually did a reissue of this bass, and we actually made a sticker sheet of all of the decals and stickers that are going with it, which is super, which came out of us doing this bass. So, I mean, man, I have so much stuff, man. I have probably 2,000 records. I have just so much. This is one room, man. It's just everywhere, but lots of Megadeth stuff, lots of Maiden. I mean, again, I collect it all. I mean,
what's your rarest piece? Do you have like a Metallica medal up your ass EP or something like that around there?
No, I mean, look, I in my hallway, I have the family portrait from David Ellefson's parents' house. I mean, that's probably the rarest thing that I have if I have to pick one thing. So the one that kind of made the rounds with like the cats, that's the original of that is literally hanging in my hallway. you know. And again, I have a lot of kind of personal stuff like that. I mean, again, it's probably more Megadeth stuff, you know, than anything. I mean, David's my best friend, so, you know. But yeah, I mean, look, and it's not, I mean, honestly, my collection runs the gamut. It's not just music stuff. I mean, I have a lot of pop culture and, you know, movie stuff, and somewhere, I don't know where it is. I was trying to find it, but hey, hang on. Let's see. You got me on a quest now. Hi, Pebble.
There's Rich. Rich joining us.
Yes.
We've got two of Rich on the screen there. All right.
I acquired this recently, and this is one of my flagship things right here. This Jim Henson sketch of Kermit the Frog.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which I'm actually going to put in like a shadow box with this guy right here. Jim Henson and Kermit Funk. Yeah, man. So again, I have, you know, but again, yeah, my rarest shit is kind of weird pop culture shit like that. I mean, I don't have, you know, obscure Metallica, you know, demos from 1981 or anything, but and I have some cool stuff. Again, kind of, my house is kind of like a Megadeth museum, you know. I mean, honestly, man, the shit I'm most proud of is, you know, kind of the stuff, you know, me and David did together. I mean, all that memorabilia, and I mean, to me, that's, I mean, but yeah, but again, I love Anthrax, I love Megadeth, I love Metallica, I love Motley Crue, Quiet Riot, Def Leppard, Kiss. I mean, that's Maiden, Randy Rhoads, and that's sort of my collection. You know what I mean? Like, I'm surrounded by carnival mirrors and just goofy shit that, you know, I'm basically living my repressed childhood still at 45, you know.
That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, and you said you know, comics and sci-fi shit. I mean, you know, that kind of stuff too is I think you said you got cool. Yeah, all right, all right, Rich. I got about 100. Actually, I'm going to drop a little name. He's not like a world famous person, but you know, I was talking about the show with a kid, a guy I grew up with named John Bambino. I mentioned your name. And John Bambino said, "Holy crap, Tom is like one of the best people in the world."
I love Bambino so much, man. He's literally one of my favorite people in this damn business, still to this day. Yeah, no, great guy.
Yeah, he's from New Jersey. Yeah, he's a genuine.
I love Jersey, man. All my favorite people are in New Jersey. I don't know why that is, but a lot of them anyway.
Well, I'm not now. I'm actually in Ellefson, so I'm in Phoenix. But
you live in Arizona. Well, good.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll hang out the next time we get out there.
Yeah, by all means, I'll buy you an Ellefson coffee. You know, when you. But I wanted to get to a little bit. I don't know, Rich. You go ahead. I mean, I've got a couple of things loaded up. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, of course. So Combat Records, where are things at with that? What's your involvement with it? And will we see any reissues of those classic, you know, 80s albums from Running Wild, or somebody like that?
Nah, I mean, look, the reissues, we own the name, and Century Media Sony owns the catalog. So we did a bunch of reissues last year. Basically, Century Media hit us up and said, look, we kind of want to do definitive. And Mike Gitter, who runs Century Media, is a good friend of mine and David's for many years. And so one day I get a call out of the blue from Gitter, and he's like, hey, we want to reissue. Hang on, let's see. I think I got him even. Hold that thought as I knock everything over.
I'm back on the screen again twice.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You get double Rich.
Yeah, double the exposure.
I'm gonna tag. So there you go, John Bambino. You just got tagged in this episode. And you know, Tom has just touched so many things. I don't know how we're gonna fit it all in the next 15 minutes, but
I don't know. There's a lot to talk about. So anyway, so Gitter hit me up and said, hey, you know, we want to do some reissues of some of the classic Combat catalog, and so would you guys be willing to partner with us on that and let us use the Combat name? And I'm like, absolutely. So they did some cool kind of limited edition merch, and funny enough, I actually got these. Gitter came to the Metal Hall of Fame, and that's when I finally got these in January at the Metal Hall of Fame. But so Bonded by Blood.
Awesome.
This is so hard to do. Let's see. Bonded by Blood.
Great.
What else? Wait.
Very nice.
That shouldn't be in there. 7 churches.
Awesome.
Possessed, Upside Down.
Possessed.
Beyond the Gates.
Yeah, great album.
But I mean, again, it's so cool to see Combat Century Media, and we did.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else did they do? They did a Dark Angel.
Oh, I love that album. Darkness Descends is such a great album.
Notice it's one of the few that I've actually opened and listened to. So, see what Pleasures of the Flesh. So that's kind of what they started out with, and I think they've done some more since then too. I'm not even positive. I mean, I don't even remember which ones came out, but I know they did some more. So like, a lot of the more obscure shit more than likely probably isn't. It's gonna generally be the more, prudent pieces of the catalog. Well, I love some of the obscure stuff, and we actually, we worked with Virus and tried doing a reissue of that, and that turned into a giant clusterfuck. And but so again, we've done kind of some stuff with some of the kind of pieces that Sony doesn't own. But look, for the most part, we're kind of looking forward with Combat. You know what I mean? We, firmly, have a grasp on the legacy, and we kind of set Century Media up with the tools to kind of do that, since they own the catalog. But, really, we're just kind of, no cover. We're kind of putting out our Ellefson stuff. We did Hatchet. We did the last Dead by Wednesday record. I mean, again, we did a Mark Rizzo record. We did Wrath. So again, it's been kind of some cool, combination of cool sort of 80s thrash stuff, some modern thrash stuff. And really now it's just kind of me and David kind of just using it for our personal stuff, the Ellefson stuff. And, again, No Cover is coming out on Combat, in conjunction with Ear Music, and Ward in Japan. And, so again, we do some joint venture stuff. We do some various stuff. And as for what I am in Combat, I mean, like, I run it all. David's the name on the door, and me and David are partners in pretty much everything. But all the day-to-day operations, the A&R, everything else is pretty much me. I call David. I go, hey, I want to do this. And he goes, yeah. And sometimes I don't even do that. I just call him and I go, hey, we're doing this. And he goes, okay. We're kind of at the point now where David just kind of trusts me implicitly, and we have a great relationship that way,
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay.
So is Ellefson books and all that stuff, is that all kind of under the same umbrella, or is Combat like in its own room? And then
I mean, look, they're all Combat's its own LLC, it's its own company. EMP's its own everything's kind of its own little companies, little compartmentalized things, but it's all under the umbrella. It's all me and David. You know what I mean? And we have Melody Myers, who does a lot of our graphic design and imaging stuff, and she's amazing. And a couple people that help with various things under various banners. Our friend Drew Fortier, helps out a little bit with some of the stuff on the book imprint. And then obviously we have, the film company where we're doing some stuff. And I've been kind of directing some animated videos and doing some stuff under that. And Drew is doing his film Dwellers, which is coming out under that, which me and David actually have a little cameo. And so like, it's all in-house, but it's all, separate.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I think you touched on it, but I'll just take it a little bit further. So do you have any bands that you're planning on releasing through Combat or EMP? Anybody that you're excited about, anything like that coming up, or is it more just...
No, right now we have the Supreme Unbeing record, which comes out Friday, actually, which are, this great band. It's kind of nobody knows. It's kind of a secretive thing, but their videos are all animated and they're really great, and kind of like a ghost sort of thing, which is really cool. It's kind of a cool Swedish, the band is based in Europe, I'll tell you that much. And the record comes up Friday, and we've done a bunch of singles, and I'm excited about that. And we have some other kind of younger bands that we work with. We just released a record from They Might Be Zombies, who were really cool and good buddies of mine, and that came out recently. And, we're actually talking to our friends in The Crown, who are going to come out and do some shows with us. And we might put something out for them next year. And, we put out the Psycho Tribe record last year, who are good friends of ours. And it's been kind of a weird time for putting out records and putting out stuff, because a lot of the plans we had, COVID kind of came along and said, fuck your plans, So, and for the most part, we're really just kind of focused on, Ellefson and what we're doing there. So that's kind of the main conduit right now. But look, we're always open and looking for new records and new projects and new things. And we've put out some cool stuff. And again, when something cool comes along, man, you know what I mean? It comes along, you know, and our other, so yeah, you know, we just kind of try and stay busy with everything. And yeah, I mean, we like for the most part, our bandwidth is kind of taken up by Ellefson and all of our stuff, but great bands send us stuff and we find stuff. And, you know, and the Loyal Order too. We actually put out a record on EMP from a band called the Loyal Order earlier this year. And that's been just killing it at radio and doing great. And it's great, man. That Supreme Unbeing, everything we put out is kind of, yeah, the Ellefson stuff kind of has a presence at radio. And that's what's cool about it, man. We put out less stuff now. I mean, we put out, you know, Mark Slaughter, Doyle. I mean, we put out like 50 records, 80 records, 100 records in like 4 years. And now we're just kind of, we slowed down. Now we're putting out less things, but they're all getting a good impact and really kind of, you know, all getting some love. And it's great, man. It's really satisfying, you know?
I got to see Mark Slaughter when he did a couple solo shows. He did one in Jersey a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, at the where was it at
Dingbats.
Yeah, no, I was there. Yep.
Yeah, and I was wondering if Slaughter decides to release new music, will it come out through EMP or something else? Do you think?
I honestly I don't think that Slaughter will. I mean, honestly, no. I mean, like the thing with Mark, it was a one-off deal. Mark kind of puts out his own stuff, and look, and halfway there was a great record. Yeah. I was so proud of that record. I still am, and what me and Mark achieved. I mean, just little things like we got Mark in Guitar World magazine. Mark's thing is he's an amazing guitar player. He's as good or better a guitar player than he is a singer, but he's never really gotten the respect or credit for that. And, you know, and then I got him a feature in Guitar World. And he's like, dude, all my life I've wanted to be in Guitar World. And I never. So, yeah, I'm so proud of what we achieved with that record. But, like, it was a one-off record. It was kind of its own thing. And, I mean, look, I think Mark's making solo records. And I don't think him and Dana necessarily see eye to eye on that. I think Dana's just kind of happy with the legacy Slaughter has. And I don't think he necessarily wants. And, look, trust me, I brought it up a billion times and tried and pushed and tried. And I think they're. You know, I think Slaughter, as it is kind of happy just going out and playing the great catalog songs and kicking ass live and just doing that. And I know they had talked about doing some anniversary stuff for Stick It To You and the Wildlife. And I think COVID kind of fucked a lot of that up too. You know what I mean? Like, but Mark is such a great talent. And I'm so proud of the record that we made and put out and getting him to sing with me on Say What You Will. I mean, dude, that turned out so incredible. If you're a Slaughter fan or a Mark Slaughter fan, you're going to lose your mind when you hear it. So fucking cool. And again, Slaughter's one of my favorite bands too. I don't give a shit. I will say that proudly, you know, and to be able to do sing a song with Mark Slaughter, man. I mean, to me, that's one of the most mind-blowing points on the whole No Cover record for me.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing that one.
Great song too. The original song is a great song. Fast Way.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you go wrong? Fast Way.
You can't go wrong. Man. You really can't. I mean, it's such a great. Dude, I love the Trick or Treat soundtrack too, man. That's one of my favorite records ever. Just goddamn.
Oh yeah, great cheesy movie too. I love it, and yeah.
Well, one thing that made so when we were making this record, when we were doing the liner notes and kind of the artwork, we went through and we put a dedication in there to all the people that weren't with us anymore. And it was so heartbreaking as I'm making this list and realizing, the entire original lineup of Motorhead is no longer with us. And everybody but one guy in Sweet. And there's just so many of these guys that aren't with us anymore. And it really kind of broke my heart making that fucking list, man. And again, losing Eddie yesterday. I mean, losing myself 3 months ago. You know what I mean? It's our time on Earth is so fragile, man. And it's just so important to just go out and just get it and go do it. And that's kind of where I think all this success we've had has come from and everything we've done and whatever, I mean, look, I'm not a guy who has 30 years singing in fucking bands. You know what I mean? It's like I literally started singing in bands professionally a year and a half ago. You know what I mean? Which is kind of ridiculous. But again, I've been singing my entire life, and good at it and know how to do it and know the mechanics of it. And I've been a vocal coach and a producer, and I understand the mechanics of singing and I know how to sing, but it was just, I kind of said, you know what? I don't want to be a fucking rock star anymore. And then one day I just kind of accidentally, sort of in a minor way, became one, you know, like, oh, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah. By the way, you know, we've got people watching across all different kind of streams and pages and whatnot. So if you're interested, there you go.
This is a secret to singing 19 songs in a month and a half right here, by the way.
Those candies or what is...
No, God, no. These are Vocal Zone lozenges. They're a company from England, and these things have been around for over 100 years. I mean, Frank Sinatra used them, Metallica uses them, and they have a whole line of teas and lozenges, and this is literally like the secret to I mean, these saved my life on the mega cruise. Like, I still to this day swear to God I had COVID on the mega cruise. I've never been sicker in my life. The day before we had to play, I couldn't talk, I couldn't get out of bed, and one of the guys on the cruise, one of the crew guys said, dude, I have Vocal Zone, take this. And I just started taking it, and it saved my fucking life. And since then I hooked up with the company. Now me and David both have an endorsement. I got David on it, and again, we both just swear by it, man. It's kind of my go-to vocal regimen. The teas, the lozenges.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So
now you know.
So Rich, I was going to...
There's the plug.
Yeah, there's the plug. Yeah, to make out your checks to Thom Hazaert, Vocal Zone. But Rich and I talked about this, and now actually everyone, I'll plug it really quickly. If you're watching now, go watch Tom and David Ellefson. A bunch of guys, or a bunch of really well-known big names, are going to talk about Eddie Van Halen. But we would be remiss. There you go.
Oh my God!
Hang
on. Kevin Smith is doing. You know, he's rebooting Masters of the Universe, right?
I did not know that. Good for Kevin, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's got a Facebook page. It's called Masters of the Universe Revelation, I think it's called.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like it's gonna be amazing.
I'm gonna take off my shirt and model He-Man. Hang on.
I also have Hordak right here, man. Hordak was the most metal villain ever.
Oh, that's awesome. Always was a Masters of the Universe fan.
Yeah. There's got to be many faces around there somewhere then.
Oh, there is. It's in the living room on Castle Grayskull. We'll just pull all the random shit off my desk. A sealed VHS copy of Rusted Pieces.
Nice.
Very cool.
It never ends, man.
You got a question, Jack, or can I go?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, you know, we'd be a little bit remiss if Rich and I were talking about this before. I know, Tom, you're going to talk later about Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, tonight, me and David at 10:15 Central. Me, David, Steve Brown from Trickster, who also filled in Def Leppard for a time, and Alex Skolnick, Mike Portnoy, maybe some of our other friends might drop in. Yeah, we're going to do a little live stream and talk about Eddie and the huge loss we all kind of feel today, knowing he is no longer part of this earth, man, which is heartbreaking to me. And I know a lot of people, man. Van Halen's the reason Megadeth met. I mean, it is. You know, I'm sure you've heard the story, but David moved into an apartment downstairs from Mustaine, and one morning, like 7 a.m, he was playing Running with the Devil at the top volume, and Dave Mustaine threw a flower pot down on his air conditioner and said, "Shut the fuck up." And that was how they met.
Yeah. I know that story's in My Life with Death. Yeah.
I think we put it in More Life with Death too. So
excellent. Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. I mean, it's just, I think we all feel it. I mean, just really quickly, this is all about Tom here, but I got to say, you know, that like Eddie Van Halen, of course, is a huge part of all of our upbringing and developments. Part of the reason Rich and I are here is absolutely his playing. And you know, people also don't recognize he kept exploring that neck. He kept on doing it throughout his whole career. Yeah. Saw him a couple of years ago. He was doing new shit. Like, he's just, you know, my hat is completely off. And
oh yeah. I mean, I love Van Halen. I love every era of Van Halen. I love Sammy Hagar. I love fucking Gary Sharon. I mean, again, I just celebrate Van Halen and their entire fucking catalog, man. It's like somebody goes, "Oh, Diver Down sucks," or this, and I'm like, dude, no, it doesn't. Like, Diver Down is, I mean, there's nothing. Van Halen never did anything bad, period. Never, nothing. I don't give a shit what you say. You're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, even on the ones that I don't like as much, I listen to Eddie because he's the master, and you could always hear him exploring. But actually, Thom, I want to go before we got about 5 minutes left. I want to talk about. Thank God you're still here, man. I mean, tell us a little bit about how that changed your perspective and whatever you want to share about that experience. Because
well, I was dead and now I am not. No, I mean, look, it was kind of fucked up. My heart just stopped out of nowhere. And again, it's not like people are like, "Oh my God, you have to eat different." Yeah, and obviously, I'm not. I mean, I'm not in a done-ish shape. But the reality is that my heart just stopped. There was no rhyme or reason to it. I was just walking through my living room one day, and you know what? They put a pacemaker in, and I feel great. And I'm trying to take it slow and take it easy, but. I have two modes, man, off and go. That's it. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's how I'm programmed. But the reality is I came back I always joke around now and say I'm in the fucking bonus round. You know what I mean? It's like now everything else is just gravy. So I'm just working that much harder to hustle and make shit happen. I mean, if it's possible to, hustle harder than I did before, I am. I think he was expecting me to go on with some long, drawn-out answer. He's like, "Shit, I'm going to take a drink." Nope.
No, all right.
Look, I'm happy I got to come back, and but I kind of came to the point where I was like, look, and me and it's funny, again, I can come back to this conversation I had with Tremonti today, and he asked me about it, and today was the first time we talked since it happened, and he asked if I saw, the other side or saw anything, and I said, look, it was just absolute peace. I mean, but it's fine. It's I came back, and again, just more motivated than ever. And again, the funny thing is, like, any fear I had of dying is gone now, because I'm like, oh, that wasn't so bad. You know what I mean? So again, now I'm back with a vengeance. And look, I would have been happy if it was my time. It was my time. It would have been a bummer for my kids. But look, my kids are teenagers now. They would have at least understood. Again, it's like I said, now it's kind of just the bonus round. I was happy. I would have left a cool legacy, but I'm really happy I got to come back and finish what we started with no cover and see it through. And now I'm going to get to put it out and go up and play these songs and finish this actual Ellefson record and put that out. And, the bonus round, baby, the bonus round. Everything I do now is just extra cool.
Cool. All right, Rich, you get the last question. I think I stepped on you a couple of times. So sorry,
That's Rich, all right.
But yeah, you get the last question.
So just between us and I guess the people at the Metal Hall,
between us and everybody watching,
have you heard the new Megadeth and what's it like?
I
can't talk about that.
I don't know. Even if I had, I cannot. But I'm told it's a great record and everything on it's great and it's heavy. And I know, I kind of am privy to what's done, and I know Kiko went and kind of tracked his stuff, and Dirk tracked his stuff, and David's tracked his stuff, and now I think Mustaine is just getting together all the vocals and kind of the finishing touches and the lyrics. But I've heard it's a really, really, really amazing record, man. Awesome. And I'm sure it will be. I mean, Dystopia is, one of the greatest records of their fucking career, man. I mean, I really feel like it was just the return to form that they've needed since Countdown or Euthanasia, maybe. You know what I mean? It really was such a great record, and I love this lineup. And I think Dirk's an even more incredible drummer than Adler is. So I'm looking forward to see what Dirk brings to the table. And I mean, Dirk's a fucking machine, So I mean, again, they've got literally one of the greatest. I mean, they have a lineup that rivals any classic lineup of Megadeth, and I think it's going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, cool, awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, as predicted, there's no way we could have gotten everything because, this guy's got too much cool shit going on. But
thank you, I appreciate that.
So Thom, why don't you? We got about literally a minute left. Although it's not like it's a hard stop. But why don't you just take us out?
I mean, again, we're just gonna miss Mike Pence and Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Well, what's you got the no cover coming out in November? You said, right?
November 20th. Yes, and I'll
be what else? Okay, so what else comes out this year, or maybe in the new year that you can plug real quick?
I mean, just the Ellefson studio records coming eventually, you know what I mean? So that's really, and again, the Supreme Unbeing record that comes out on Friday on EMP. And that's really it, man. I mean, look, right now we're so laser focused on Ellefson and on our stuff. And we have this amazing downtime because usually Megadeth works constantly. So we just kind of had all this downtime this year. So, like, look, the pandemic's been a blessing and a curse. You know, we've been more successful this year than any other year, man. We did all this amazing stuff with the David Ellefson Youth Music Foundation. We were able to make No Cover. We were able to pretty much finish this other studio record. I mean, we've been able to make 2 records, do all the stuff we did with the Youth Music Foundation, our Schools Out initiative, which was incredible. The coffee company's thriving because everybody's stuck at home and they want coffee. I mean, really, we've been, it's, you know, in many ways, it's actually been a blessing. And I hate to say that when so many people are suffering, but for us, I mean, creatively, it's just given us all this time that we normally wouldn't have because Megadeth would be on. Megadeth was supposed to be on tour like 6 months, basically the whole second half of this year, and they weren't, and that afforded us the opportunity to do no. I mean, look, if it wasn't been for the pandemic, Megadeth would have been on tour, and No Cover would have never even gotten done.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
And what about now? You said you got the Chris Poland book, and you have other books coming up.
Just the Chris Poland book, Liar, Truth, Highs, and Consequences, which is going to be out hopefully in the spring. That's kind of my goal. I just picked up, let's see, where is it? Come on, I'm gonna give it a plug, but I can't find it because my desk is too much of a mess, or my kids stole it. But the new Megadeth Rust in Peace book, here it is. Yay! The new Megadeth Rust in Peace book is out. So it says Dave Mustaine, but it should say Dave Mustaine and David Ellefson and Chuck Bueller and all the other guys that are in the book. But David made some great contributions to this book, and Chuck Bueller's in there, and Mike Klink, and a bunch of our other friends who are there. So it's not just Mustaine's perspective. There's a bunch of perspectives kind of telling the story behind Rust in Peace. And it kind of, I don't know if you've read More Life with Death, but it kind of follows the format we use for More Life with Death, and, you know, which is cool, man. It's funny because it's almost originally we had intended to include Rust in Peace stuff in More Life with Death. And then Megadeth said, hey, we're making a Rust in Peace book. So we left it out. That's why ours kind of stops right at the end of So Far So Good, So What. So we didn't step on Megadeth's Rust in Peace book. But now it's cool because now Chris Poland's book is almost like completing a trifecta where it talks about a different side of all of this stuff and a lot of stuff that's in the Rust in Peace book and More Life with Death. So it's funny, in a way, they're all 3 kind of companions to each other, you know what I mean? Which is kind of interesting.
Excellent. Yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that. And just in full disclosure, My Life with Death is coming out, or More Life with Death. I've read My Life with Death. More Life with Death is absolutely on my list because, you know, David Ellefson is a fascinating guy. He's got a fascinating life, and I want to support the cause. And
More Life. And honestly, I'm biased, but More Life with Death is a great book, man. I think it's definitely a deal. Look, and again, it's kind of a sequel to My Life with Death. It basically picks up when David left Megadeth, and he kind of goes through his time at PV and his time out of the band and his time in Soulfly and his time in, you know, all the other things that he kind of did, Hail, and the other things he did in between, and then coming back to Megadeth, and then obviously the Big Four and the Grammy and all this stuff that wasn't really in the first book, which was so cool to be able to cover that. But then it gets into our journey together with Combat and EMP and Ellefson Coffee and all the stuff we did there. And again, man, I mean, look, KK Downing's in the book, Mark Tremonti, Head from Korn, Alice Cooper. I mean, we got a bunch of our friends to kind of jump in with us. Dan Donegan from Disturbed. I mean, it's really a fascinating book, man. And the cool thing is, I was joke around and say it's like a superhero movie where, you know, we kind of had to tell the origin story again. You know what I mean? We started over, you know, basically us acquiring Combat and doing all the Combat stuff gave us an opportunity in the book to segue back and tell the origin story of David and Megadeth again, which was told in My Life with Death. But I think we told it in a little different, more interesting way with some other people like Greg Handovit and Jay Reynolds and guys who were there. You know what I mean? So I think it definitely having the multi-perspective narrative kind of gives it a more, I think Ellefson's blowing me up. You hear my phone ringing in the background? He's the only one. He's the only person that ever calls me. Him, medical bill collectors, and people trying to get me to vote for Donald Trump. That's the only thing.
Which one do you hang up on? I'm not. We don't need to go there.
All of them, but David.
Well, I feel like we should let you go and answer that. But yeah, I want to say.
Hang on. Hey, where's my phone? Let me see. Hang on. Hold that thought.
Sure.
Oh, it's in my
So,
pocket.
if you're just tuning in,
Let's see. What does David Ellefson want? No, let's see if it was David. It had to have been because he called the house and then my cell. Let's see. It was. Let's see. What does David want?
hey, you can send him this link if you want. He can
Hey,
join.
buddy, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
we have a live extra live guest.
Maybe I will. Let's see. Oh, now he's not going to answer. Now he's going to play coy.
Yeah, I dated girls like that.
Hey, dude.
Hey, buddy, what are you doing?
Hey, sorry. So John 5's going to jump in.
Oh, okay, cool. You hear that, everybody? So I'm actually in the middle of an interview. It's funny, and I was just like, David's calling me. Let's say hi.
Well, now it's public knowledge. There you go.
Oh, there you go. John 5's going to jump in with us too. You hear that? What are you doing right now? Are you at your computer?
Yeah, no, I just
Good. Well, we're good. We'll go. I'm going to get out of here and go watch the debate in a minute. So, God, stop. You don't ever stop. All right, buddy. Yeah, unfortunately, he's got to jump into 3 other stream things before our stream thing. See, that's how we do it.
This is you taking it easy, I hear.
Yeah, he's like, I just finished one, and now I got to jump in another one, and then I got to do a Zoom thing before ours. I'm like,
Well, no, we appreciate the effort. Maybe we'll get you guys.
We'll jump on next time. It's funny. I actually thought about when I jumped on today, having him jump on with me. But it's always about him. And I wanted to. I made this one. I was going to make this one about me, but next time I'll get him to jump on for a minute and say hi for sure.
Cool.
But
Yes.
I love doing interviews with David, but sometimes it's fun to just talk about things from my perspective, which I don't really do all that often. Because usually me and David always do them together. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, literally, that's the only reason I did. And I was like, hey, jump on this interview with me for a couple minutes. I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna do this one. But definitely next time, man, we'll get him on here too.
Cool.
Oh yeah, we would love that. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for taking the extra time. And like I said, I keep talking over Rich, so I'm a terrible partner. Rich, you should kick my ass next time I see you. So I'm going to shut up.
That's good. That's good. I got in my question. We can wrap it up.
I got. You notice I'm slowly like taking everything off. I took off my rings. I took off my hat. Like I started all my garb, and then eventually I'm like, yeah, my headphones are off, my shirt's off.
Gotta get comfortable, right?
You get more and more casual as the time elapses.
Right,
Yeah.
Thom Hazaert after dark with Thom Hazaert here.
Tom After Dark is a very dark place. So, thank you guys so much, and we'll definitely do this again soon.
Thank you as well.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. We're going to end the broadcast now,
Yes.
but yeah. All right, I'm shutting up. Just go ahead, Rich.
That's all right.
All right,
Thanks,
Rich,
everybody.
you wrap us up.
What, Tom?
See, now I'm talking over him.
Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks Metal Hall of Fame and all the Thom Hazaert fans and everybody else. And check out the Ellefson it's called No Cover, right?
It is called No Cover.
No Cover coming out in November. And thank you, Jack, for connecting us, and thank you again, Tom, for being on.
And join us for our live stream tonight at 10:15. More Nights with Death with Alex Skolnick, Mike Portnoy, Steve Brown, and apparently John 5.
Awesome.
Yeah. You heard it here
Sounds
first.
good.
You did, literally.
All right.
All right. Cheers, everybody.